Hello everyone, I'm back at Bishop William Cemetery. Earlier this week I did that video, the children of William and Catherine Rockliffe, about the headstone. It was just a short video because I just noticed it before and it looked interesting. Since then I've been away and I've researched their life, and it was an interesting life. I might be rushing this video because it looks like it's going to... The skies are dark, a little bit of blue, but I've had a lot of showers today, so I need to be quick. But we might be alright. But going back, William Rockliffe and Catherine Rockliffe, they've got this headstone here. Sadly, there's 5 infants who died in the space of a 5-year period. They lived in Bishop William, and November 1880 was a tragic month for the family. It's a beautiful headstone, and suffer little children to come unto me, for thine is, I think, the kingdom of heaven. But look how clear that writing is. So just have a bit of a recap. It's William and Catherine Rockliffe, and there's young William died November the 10th, 4-year-old. Winifred died November the 20th, 2-year-old. John died November the 30th, aged 5 months. So they came here 3 times in 1 month. The children, I had a look, they're all buried in different graves in this particular area, because this particular section was generally where you just paid to bury somebody. You didn't generally have the right to put up a headstone, but obviously at some point in their life, probably years later, they've erected this memorial. And then there was Robert there, as I said, died February the 25th, 1882, aged 6 months, and then Jane, August the 4th, 1877, aged 2 years and 2 months. So when I researched this family, there was one other child, and that was Agnes Duncan Rockliffe. Now, just a little bit of background on to this particular family, but just so we know where we are, if you ever come and visit Bishop William Cemetery. That noise you can hear over there is Chester Road. There's the garden centre just in front of us. There's a cafe shop there as well. It's a great place to come if you want to see lots of history on Sunderland Bishop William. But William Rockliffe, the father, he was born in Seaham around 1847. He was a son of a Kent mariner who had come to Sunderland, then moved to Seaham for a couple of years, and they were back in Sunderland by 1851. Catherine Rockliffe was actually Catherine Sinclair Duncan, and she was born at Sandwick up in the Shetland Islands. So at some point in her life, she'd come to Bishop William. She'd married William in 1872, and then they had a child called Agnes, who I mentioned earlier. Then I had this series of tragedies. In 1880, in the burial records, William's down as I think it's a cutter or a cutler. In 1881 census, he's down as a mariner, and also in the 1871 census, he's down as a mariner. But by 1891, he and his wife were boarding at Jarrow, and he was down as an engineer, so possibly a maritime engineer, or it's a little bit grey for how he actually got some wealth, because by some point in the 1890s they were living in a nice house in Whitley Bay called it was 8 Clarence Crescent. It's near the Whitley Bay metro station. If you Google it online, you can see what it actually looks like, because it's still there today. In 1891, the daughter Agnes, she was living over in Durham. So there they all are. They're in Whitley Bay. The 5 children have died, 1 survived. But in 1899, there was a grand wedding in Whitley Bay, and Agnes married a wealthy Belfast man by the name of James Adam Cleland, who was a partner in his father's publishing firm, and they got married. A big wedding. I think it was a Wesleyan Methodist chapel, and a nice reception, and they had a Cinderella dance, and then the couple must have gone off to live over in some fine parts of Belfast, I think near Lochnair, Hollywood area, because they're quite well-to-do family. Sadly, William, in 1901, he got admitted to the Edinburgh Lunatic Asylum. He may have had depression or breakdown or just some form of mental illness, possibly, might have gone back to 1880 and that tragic events of that particular year. So he died in the asylum, and he's buried at Morningside Cemetery in Edinburgh, which at the time was a private cemetery. There is a headstone there. I've not seen a picture of it. So Catherine, she was the niece of a Shetland Isle traveller and author who had moved to Leith in Edinburgh, but he went exploring around the world. He used to write books. If you Google, I think it's Sinclair Thompson Duncan, that was her uncle. And he mentions in there about Agnes and Catherine. Because when he was sailing past Belfast on a steamer, he was off on one of his voyages, they came out to see him, and it mentioned about Catherine. She was a widow, she was a happy woman, and she liked to travel, and she'd been thinking about going across to Canada, but she still had been in Whitley Bay till at least 1911 when she was on the census. Catherine passed away in 1919 and was buried at Belfast City Cemetery, so possibly she'd gone over to live with her son-in-law and her daughter and spend her days in relative comfort over there. But Agnes, she actually lived till 1962 when she died, aged 90-year-old, in, I think it was a care home, residential care home over in Belfast, sorry, down in Buxton in Derbyshire. But she was then buried in Belfast City Cemetery with a mother and a son-in-law. So a long life. The last part of it lived in comfort, because if you remember, Agnes was the firstborn and she witnessed all of the siblings dying, so she probably would have been a special day, that wedding at Whitley Bay. So literally that is just an update on that particular headstone. So thank you very much for watching, and if you enjoy it, give it a like, and if you want to, click on the subscribe, and I will see you next time, wherever that may. Actually, it might be, because I might go and do another video now before the rain comes down, because I've been quite lazy this week with the weather. I haven't done many videos. I've been doing a bit more writing, and I've actually written this particular story up, so I'll probably copy it onto the description of this YouTube video. So if you want to read a lot more detail, then just have a look on that. So thanks very much, and I'll see you next time. And there we are, just in this particular area. Thanks a lot. See you.